panel will be moderated by Ms. Sonal Singh, Consultant Wazir Advisors. It's my privilege and pleasure to introduce our distinguished panel. Namrata Bhat is AVP Product and Sourcing, Van Heusen Innerwear, Aditya Birla Fashion and Retail Limited, an accomplished product and sourcing leader with a dynamic career spanning innerwear, athleisure and outerwear merchandising. With deep expertise in product development, sourcing and quality assurance, she has a proven track record of delivering consumer-centric products and optimizing supply chain efficiency. She has previously held leadership positions at Gokuldas Intimate Wear and Enamor. With international exposure and a strong background in building sustainable and scalable systems, she continues to drive excellence in product innovation, sourcing strategies and business growth within the innerwear and athleisure sector. A warm welcome to Namrata Bhat. Welcome, ma'am. Dr. Kiruba Devi is Head Category and Sourcing at Zivame. With 2 decades of experience in retail buying, sourcing, category management and product development, she takes care of planning, buying, category management, sourcing and quality management in Zivame. Her previous experience has been with Aditya Birla Retail Limited, Mahindra Retail Private Limited and Jubilant Retail. Among other qualifications, she has done Managed Mentor Program in Strategy and Finance Management from Harvard Business School. Dr. Kiruba Devi is President South for BSL, Brands and Sourcing Leaders Association, and is a much sought after speaker at various industry platforms. Please welcome Dr. Kiruba Devi. Kavitha Nair is Product Head, US Polo Innerwear for men and boys innerwear and comfortwear at Urban Lifestyle brands. She has nearly 2 decades experience with brands like Adidas, Nike, A&F Hollister and has led product development, sourcing and merchandising operations for big names like Columbia Sportswear, H&M and Demench. After having taken up the role of Product Head of US Polo, she has worked towards revamping and reimagining US Polo Innerwear in the market, which has helped business growth. A warm welcome to Kavitha Nair. She is a vastly experienced professional and a business consultant with a range of assignments across all sectors. Please welcome Regional Business Consultant, Albanon, Ms. Sanju Prakash. We have, of course, Sonal Singh, Consultant Wazir Advisors, who is going to moderate the discussion. Incidentally, ladies and gentlemen, we had 2 gentlemen on the panel as well, but I think they chickened out. Or maybe they were chivalrous enough to let the ladies have the last word. Ladies, over to you.
Good evening, everyone. It's an absolute pleasure to welcome you all to this exciting panel discussion on driving product innovation, the role of supply chain stakeholders. So as the intimate apparel industry is undergoing a rapid transformation, driven by shifting consumer expectations towards functionality, sustainability, and fast forward designs. To remain competitive, the supply chain must evolve, integrating innovation at every stage throughout the supply chain, from raw materials to manufacturing, logistics, and then final delivery. Today, we have an esteemed panel of experts who are at the forefront of the product development and supply chain innovation. So as we have been hearing the innovation across all our discussions today and yesterday, it is crucial to understand how this need can be translated to reality through changes across the supply chain. So to set the stage, let's begin by discussing why product innovation is critical for the Indian intimate apparel industry. So, hi Namrata. Just wanted to ask, what are the key drivers of innovation in this space of supply chain innovation? So, this is my first question to you.
Thank you for having me here. I think, can you just repeat the key drivers, right?
Yes.
Okay. So I would say that not only innovation in terms of raw material that everybody is addressing, the fibers that we use, the fabrics that we make, the finishes that we use, I think uh, consumer is at the heart of it. Uh, what is the outcome that consumer wants? What is the performance aspect that consumer is looking? What is the durability aspect that consumer is looking at? The wellness that they can get out of that product. So not just raw material, I feel all these aspects are also at the heart of it, because that is when you're listening to the consumer and making the products which will resolve consumer issues. Um, my first and foremost would be, since we are in a setup where there are a lot of retailers, if we could do something about the packaging that we send along with the products, which is a lot of plastic that we send, and that is the requirement of the trade market, that they need the product to be in a clear poly bag, where we are creating so much of waste for the future generation, and if that something could be done about it, and that is something that is easily solvable, and we could do it together.
So
Yeah.
very well said. Actually, nowadays, I think so consumers are very much interesting and too much are aware about sustainable manufacturing and sustainable delivery. So, hi Kiruba. So, as the intimate apparel industry has an emergence of new product categories, so how are consumer preferences shaping innovation in the intimate apparel industry?
Thank you. Good evening. I think I'm glad that I think things are buzzing inside, and I'm glad the industry is getting that benefit out of this show. Coming back to your question, at least this entire decade, this decade had seen a lot of difference in innerwear. I mean, like from us moving from a conical bra to a padded bra is now migrating to a very, very large thing, right? The latest trend is like the innerwear and outerwear is merging together, like a bra tops. Top with the inbuilt bra is a bigger thing. It all depends on what kind of outerwear you're changing over. And fortunately, I think a lot of innovation is happening in this segment. You know, the adoption of innovation is very quicker in this segment rather than any other outerwear per se, because the comfort and the convenience is something that people are looking forward right now. The latest is, as I told, it's like innerwear and outerwear merging completely. So the technology is coming in help to such products right now. Um, and secondly, in terms of bras, we have seen a lot of movement in innovation. The latest is panties are seeing a huge changeover, and in terms of product line itself, there's a lot of things coming in place in panties. That's another thing. And activewear, of course, I think we are Indianizing a lot of activewear right now. Well, we started with being westernized, and right now matching to our weather conditions, to our body shapes, activewear has really been innovated for our Indian body shapes. So that's something that which is coming a big way. That holds true for shapewear also. That goes from we having a sari shapewear to having a tummy trimmer panties for our body profile. So I think this category has seen a great innovation right now, and it evolves from the consumer need primarily. Yeah.
Thank you so much. I would like Sanju to add something interesting to this. So how globally product development is evolving innovation. So
Thank you so much for having me over. And I would like to take both the questions, in fact, that Namrata answered and also that Kiruba added on. So not just in this sphere of sustainability, but also in the area of innovation. So innovation is not just product, it's also the process. Even sustainability is not just the product or the packaging or or the tags. It's also the process. How you make the process more sustainable. How you make how you create the innovation in the system, in the process. And here at Alvanon, we have a very special lingerie mannequin, Alva form that we call, which is used to fit the lingerie products. It could be swimwear, it could be bra, it could be panties. It's specially designed to fit these kind of tight-fitted garments. And it's a memory foam mannequin. So you could actually use that leads to a less, reducing your time in the product development. You could also use it, to kind of do your first or second fit and eliminate the fit process with the models. So it helps a faster fit process, approvals, and also brings in consistency in the process. And these mannequins have not been developed just randomly. We have scanned around 1.5 million people across the globe. So it actually represents the right shape of a human body, the right posture, the right stance of a human body. So it's far more consistent and speeds up the process. And that's what it brings sustainability in the process. And that's the innovation that I would say in the system or in the process. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much. So now I would like to come to Kavitha. So Kavitha, could you please answer why, with changing consumer demands, how is the role of supply chain stakeholders evolving? So as Sanju mentioned, some consumer trends are going on. They are more into body fits now. And so how is the role of supply chain stakeholders evolving throughout?
Sure, I'll come to that. First of all, good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and I'm glad that I could share the stage with industry leaders here. Okay, so having said that, how is consumer trends changing the supply chain stakeholder role? Okay, so to answer that, how is a consumer trend changing? Okay. I did listen to the previous panel. Most of them were talking about the biggest trend that's happening in the industry, which is driving most of our decisions, which is quick commerce. Okay, consumers are more aware, like all of them already said. Okay, they're very precise. So when we started off the working in the innerwear industry, it was mostly dominated by cotton and cotton spandex range, okay? But look at it today. You have innovation in terms of, like Namrata said, in the form of fiber, in the form of yarn, finishers, packaging, so everything. And yes, the end consumer is really bothered about, what they're using and how it's affecting the planet, how it's affecting them, okay? Are they feeling comfortable? Are they feeling it to be the right fit, okay? Are they getting it conveniently? If they need it again, do they have the availability quickly? All this are consumer trends, which is changing the supply chain stakeholders' role. So, and even awareness. So, when we say supply chain stakeholders, we have it right from the, where do you want your yarn to be sourced? Okay, from there till the consumer, right? Even after the consumer, I would say, because you have feedback coming back from the consumer, which again gets fed into the supply chain system, okay? So each of maybe the product, maybe the buying, maybe the suppliers, maybe the raw material suppliers, maybe the finishers, even to the extent of, what dyes go into the garment. Are they harmful? Are they chemical free? Is it suitable for a certain pH? Specifically since, it's an innerwear and it is used in an intimate area where you have body secretions, where you have moisture, where you have other issues and also personal preferences coming into play. So at each and every stage of the product, okay, each of the role is very key. And with this change in the consumer behavior, each of their role is becoming more defined. Okay, they have something new to look forward to every day, new to bring to the table, new to launch to the world too. Okay?
Absolutely, we are listening from the whole day that new raw materials are coming into the play, and very comfortable material and functional material is what consumers are demanding more. So I would like
one thing what I would like to again emphasizes the role of the marketees. Okay, you might have a great product, you might have great features going into it, but as long as you don't make them, you don't market them, or you don't convert it into the language that the consumers understand, that doesn't go through. You might have a great product, you might have a great price, you might have everything else, but if there is no awareness, it remains in your shelf.
So actually nowadays marketing channels are the only way of communication to create awareness among consumers about what is going on, what new trends are coming on, what new raw materials are being using in intimate industry, what is comfortable and what is functional. So that's the only channel of communication to the consumers. So in addition to this only, I would like to ask Namrata, how do you see India's raw material strengths supporting product innovation?
I think we have come a long, long way. Um, we are the biggest suppliers for cotton. Um, yeah, so in terms of yarns, I think we're doing great there. For our own products, we supply fabric to Bangladesh, Sri Lanka. Obviously, everything that is used, that is produced in cotton is supplied bought from India. I was just meeting the Arvind team this morning and they said that they have taken the production of polyester leaps ahead and the quality is at par that we could buy from China. So now we don't really have to depend on China. Coming to cups, we have come across several partners who are now, who have set up plants, who have supplied cups. The quality is reassured. So we don't really need to depend on China and go there for cups and pay high duties. The panel before this was also talking that when government imposes restrictions, that is when we are bound to innovate, and this all happened in last 3-4 years. There is no other way, otherwise for every padded product we have to go outside India. Coming to elastics, still a couple of years back, Kiruba, we were really struggling in buying elastics in India. We could buy, say, black and white, but not really the colors. We have come long, long way. We have a lot of manufacturers who are giving good quality products with good modulus as required in the products, especially bras, which are very technical. So I think we are supporting, and we would want to be at a stage where the whole world looks at India and looks at it as a hub, like how they look at Sri Lanka, where they can come with the product in mind. The creators can create the product and take the production from here. We have a long way to come, but I think we are there.
Hope for the same. Actually, in India, we just want everything to be in our hand, and we just don't want to import or rely on imports to get our raw materials done in India itself. So, Kiruba, if you can just add, how can India compete with global leaders like China in terms of price competitiveness and their design expertise too?
Tough question, I think, fighting China. All right, I think as Namrata mentioned, we are not the same few years back. Of course, looking at the products inside today for that matter, be it bonding techniques, everybody is saying that we are going to invest in bonding because that's where our reliance to the other countries are primarily high right now. I think we don't go to China for a cut and sew product or all that is already done in India. So there are few new techniques where they have evolved and we are still learning from them, is where I think we are taking a baby steps. In terms of raw material, of course, I think our cotton is the best cotton. That is undeniable. In terms of man-made, a lot of developments have happened in India right now. Most of our brands, at least, we are mostly self-sufficiently sourcing it from India. Like as Namrata mentioned, elastic, bead elastic. Those are the days when we have to really rely on the other country for even development and sourcing. Things have changed a lot right now. The developments are really going on in a day-to-day thing. And I think manufacturers are closely working with the brands to be very precise, because the meeting that happens between a brand and manufacturers have improved so that we are able to convey what is really required. And most of these manufacturers have already set up an R&D lab for, and they have really parked some kind of a budget for them to work around. So in that way, yes, I wouldn't say we are 100% ready to be highly innovative in terms of our category. But yes, of course, we have taken a good steps in there. In terms of material, I think our material innovation is much better than the other countries, the fibers possibly. Yes, of course, the technology wise, in terms of the make, we have to really gear up, and we are there, and I think we should be there quickly there. Yeah.
So yeah, another point that I wanted to add on again, since I've been talking about the process bit of it, that till now we've been using the UK sizing, US sizing, and as Namrata said very clearly, that we have to understand the consumer, we have to understand what they want, what their day is. So today we have the size India, we have the India size now, and that can be a big game changer, that can be a fulcrum to develop our own sizing standards and to develop our own indigenous sizes, which will be the right fit for the consumer of this country. So when we are creating the product for the consumer, we also know what that underlying core body is. So it gives a better sizing, a better fit, and that can be a big game changer for this industry now. Thank you.
Just to add on, Sonal, when it comes to price competitiveness, it's not that, we can't meet the prices what we're getting from the other regions, okay? But for what are we getting those prices matters. So skill-wise, niche techniques like bonding, okay, that needs to improve, okay? It's there, the infrastructure is there, the intent is there. I think the skill needs to develop, okay? So that you match to what you get from there and what you pay. And we don't have any other way other than achieving it, because with the current budget the import duties have skyrocketed again. So it's not ideal that we get the material from there and manufacture it here. So we have to upskill ourselves, and that is also important because we reduce our reliance only on the cotton products that are manufactured beautifully here. Cotton or cotton stretch, viscose, modal, all that is done here. I think the only part where we lag a bit is high stretch and then, polyamide stretch combinations, where the flow is not as matching as to the ones that we get from outside, mainly because of the fineness and the machinery limitations. So we have identified the problem. I think it's a matter of bridging that.
I think we can achieve this same by collaboratively working throughout the supply chain. Manufacturers should collaborate with brands, and brands should collaborate with manufacturers to overcome all these challenges. So I would just like to ask how crucial are brands and manufacturing partnership is fostering evolution these days. So anyone can just join.
It's crucial. It's like, you need a good outcome. It's not that, brand can have a higher upper hand and demand what they want unless and until you have the collaboration. It's always a two-way thing. It's a win-win situation, okay? Especially when it comes to product innovation, without a supplier having complete collaboration mindset, you won't be able to achieve what you want to, okay? And there the speed also matters. And when it comes to product innovation and you have to launch some new products into the market, you're experimenting, right? You don't know how that's going to work. And definitely that's going to be in small bits, okay? That won't happen if supplier is not collaborative, okay?
So if anyone of you wants to add something.
Yeah, I think, yes, this collaboration is very, very critical, because the cycle doesn't really revolve fast if the other party is not really working out. Interestingly, we do mill weeks, or, we call suppliers in the office to exhibit their own products. So what we do is we just tell them what is our requirement, and you'll be surprised to see that most of the requirements will be fulfilled by then when they come for the mill week. Monthly they tell us this is what is happening in the market. While we see Indian market, they see global market very closely also, and they come up with. So I think it is very, very important to have that kind of an interaction. And we should have a common goal, like both the brands and supply should have common goal, and I think that will take us a long way.
So I think if the brands and the manufacturers both work towards making the other person win, both of us will win at the end. So I think we will ourselves collaborate with each other if we are working to make the other person win. And I think that's already happening in India.
So I think we had some fantastic insights from our panelists. Now I would like to open the floor for the audience if they want to ask some questions.
First and foremost, I have to congratulate you, that all ladies panel, It doesn't really happen generally, once in a rare. Beside that, second thing, again, I need to compliment the kind of confidence the entire panel has exuded, in terms, especially when Ms. Namrata said that though it happens on the back of policy initiative advocacy, but finally we Indians or businesses, they respond to it. And thirdly, you said that we'll be there. Even if it may not happen today, eventually it will happen. Though she said that it is hard to visualize that situation that China getting replaced. China will never get replaced, But definitely India can have its own place under the sun. Now the question I need to ask is that innovation in the sustainability, in the sourcing side of it, Because perhaps we are overlooking, though that within ESG also S is the middle name, And there is now pull also started. The economic theory says when it is pull and push, then only it equals to the reality, Thankfully, the pull has also started coming from the consumer. She has started asking for the sustainable product, ethically produced. Though still it is not hit the critical numbers, nowhere in this world. But at the same time, and push also from countries like EU, which is at the forefront of it, things like digital passport, product passport, other things, 26 onward, they have started asking for many regulations. Otherwise, they say that you will be out of the job. We will not accept your product till the time it doesn't really meet our kind of this. So how much is the room for innovation in sustainability? That is the question I want to ask. Anyone can reply. Thank you.
So I would like to take up that question and then, yeah. So while people are looking for sustainable option, price has become a very big challenge for all of us who are sitting here. Consumer wants sun and moon, but does not want to pay the price. And like we've all seen in our lives, buying the regular vegetables is say X, and buying organic vegetables is X plus 10. And that is what we are doing in our real lives. I would just like to give you that ABG, sustainability is at the core of our KRA, and we take it up very seriously. It's a measurable that all of us have to respond to every quarter. I brought up packaging in the beginning. We did a small exercise with the returns, the rejected waste that we get. We tried converting it into paper, and there's a small paper that goes, a cardboard that goes in all the outerwear around it, which it is packed. So believe me or not, if we are buying that paper, say for X, sending our material, getting it back, we are paying X plus 2 rupees extra. So while we are trying to take baby steps, like you said, we've tried using sustainable fabrics in some of our ranges, but then when the price goes up, there's always a tiff when the consumer does not want to pay the price, but still wants us to use a sustainable fabric. If cotton can be called sustainable and which is not man-made, I think 80% of what we sell at VH is of cotton. But yeah, we are trying to attempt it. Long way to go.
Yeah, coming to sustainability, I think most of the brands have played a very important role in really grooming the suppliers to be very ethically producing the product. That includes avoiding child labor, while the law is there, but still, we constantly check whether our suppliers are doing it in the way that it has to be done. And now, in most of the places, they're used to doing it that way, so they don't want to go back to the old forms, right? Be it the effluent treatment plants or how do we treat child labor, how is your payment, what is the wages, other stuff. So this is the first check that all the brands, I mean like the brand who is sitting here, we take it very, very religiously strong, and we do that, and you have a continuous audit year on year on all of these metrics. So that puts us in a very sustainable way of manufacturing. That is one part that I think as a brand, thanks to all these other countries who is imposing a lot of laws in making the product, but I think as an Indian brand dealing with MSME also are also groomed that way as how to really manufacture sustainably. The second part I think Namrata touched upon is product. Yes, most of the product line that we do is sustainable material because of the climatic condition in itself wanted such kind of things. And most of the brands here have really worked on packaging, because packaging is something that people don't carry with them. The product is something that they carry. The packaging to be very fancified to the retailers here, we put a lot of effort. Like in brand Zivame, most of the labels that we use is FSFAI certified. The polybag that we use is like not one time, I mean like it is reusable, we give a Ziploc, or we ensure that the microns are taken care, so that we don't really damage the planet too much by just putting so much of thing. And that's about packaging, right. And third, of course, material. I mean, like a lot of R&D goes back saying, are we using a right dyes for the consumer? Because that is something which is very not, yeah. We are very particular about how we really give that right product to the consumer, even at the stage of dye. Are we using a right dye? Is it going to be hazardous? Are we taking care of them? So when it becomes brand business, all of these things are taken care, and to the level that we can really do it right, it is done. So I think a lot of efforts towards that part of it. If there is a norm pushed onto us, every exporter does it. But the beauty of MSMEs here, they do it on their own to ensure that they do a bit to the planet. So that is the good part about the changes that we see in the manufacturing right now.
And the sustainability opportunity in sourcing is endless, and it's ever evolving. Earlier, cotton was, sustainable. Now, recycled polyester. From there, we have evolved to biodegradable polyester. From there, we have evolved to degradable spandex. Okay, this is with reference to the raw materials that are used in the product, and it can further evolve. Not that everything is being used, but there are introductions being happening, because brands are also studying as to how much at the end the consumer should be happy with the product. The product should be sustainable, should be good for the earth, but should be value for the money that the end consumer pays as well. So that's one thing. Apart from that, if you look at the export factories, they all have this Higg index, and they have a committee formed by many big brands. Like Kiruba said, even if the manufacturers that we work with are MSMEs, they are also learning from it. They are also, trying for zero discharge of chemicals. They're also trying for, to match that index and make sure that, we stay in the, we make it as much safer as possible for us and for the world.
My name is Matthew. I know Kiruba, so I own a brand called Brida. Actually, my question is, do you give any incentive to people who use non-conventional power like wind power, solar power? Because most of the brands, if you go through, all of you produce from thermal power. So that is the most avoidable thing. So do you give any incentive for non-conventional sources of energy? For example, my brand, for every product I produce, I generate 400 times, no carbon emission power. For every product I produce, 400 times wind power I generate. So brands, my request is to pay some attention to this. Thank you.
Definitely. I think I'm not certain, and I don't have the authority, authoritative knowledge to talk about it, but I'm very certain I think ABRFL, Arvind Lifestyles, and all of us, with whichever factories that we are working, if they are generating power, they are into eco practices, which will reduce the carbon emissions that are being considered even for business placement. Correct me if I'm wrong, Namrata.
So we have a rating, and Jyoti, you could help me with that. We have a rating which we give to all our brand partners, like how Kiruba said, and there's a certificate that is given. So as an organization, we promote working with factories who are green, who are generating their own solar power, and we are constantly given a feedback from sustainable team to bring everybody at par and not work with somebody who's not okay on our radar. But noted your point.
So yeah, talking about sustainable processes again, we also create for the product development part, for the fitting part, we also create 3D avatars. So it's not just zero discharge, we also aim at a zero sample so that, you could actually eliminate a lot of waste in the product development process. So you could actually fit your samples in 3D. We create avatars for that. And you could do your size sets on 3D. You could do your various iterations, the embroidery placement, the logo placements on 3D, and you could make a final sample. And there are a lot of brands like, let's say, Target, Gap, who are moving towards this one sample phase. And that really, brings a lot of sustainability in the process.
Makes it a business case. Besides being sustainable, faster turnaround time. You're cutting short what
Absolutely.
sampling used to take so much of it.
Yes, yes.
That is in a way reducing the carbon footprint also.
Absolutely, yeah, absolutely.
Shipping it,
Without shipping all the samples.
electronic soft copy.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, I think, Matthew, that's an interesting point that you brought in. All of us have solar as one of a placeholder in our audit, vendor audit. Do you have solar? We say yes, then we go ahead, but never we incentivize. That's a good idea, to say that, if you are reaching to this level, then probably, what more. I do not know what kind of incentive that we can offer, but of course we can at least put this as a norm, like at least people in Bangalore would know that you need to have a solar panel to get your electricity approved when you construct a house. So it should be like that you should have a solar panel to get at least yourself enrolled into the system. That will actually, motivate the team to start thinking about it, and incentivizing is something that we can think about it. Interesting point, Matthew. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. True, yeah. That's an interesting fact. Yeah.
I will just extend, I think Sanju has talked about 3D kind of prototypes or whatever you told. In the world of VR, virtual reality, augmented reality, blockchain, we are talking about all these sustainability. Are you thinking about metaverse getting into the fashion? Because I'm doing a research on this. I can see a lot of things are happening globally. How metaverse is getting into fashion industry and particularly to the product side of it. I mean, you can really reduce a lot of carbon footprints through that. Anything on that you guys are doing? I wanted to.
I think a year back we did Zivame was on metaverse. In fact, we did the trial because anything that is new we always wanted to try. We ventured with one of the partner and we did metaverse. In fact, we didn't really generate a big business, but the excitement that we created among the consumers was really huge. If you talk to any Gen Zs today or Alphas today, they really don't understand going to shopping, and especially I have 2 children and they only talk about, hey, you went to Metaverse, I played game with him, I have shopped with him, all of that. So I think that is going to be the need for future. I think we are a little forward, we very forward thinking about it, but for lingerie especially, because it's like, you go and shop something else, it's easy on metaverse, like a gaming or a product of gaming, but we wanted to try lingerie, but we had a good response. People were like inviting 2 friends, going for bridal shopping. We created that as a concept. We are putting things together. It's a little expensive because of the service provider, and I keep telling service provider, if you make it cheap is when it's going to be big in India. That's the price that we have to be looking at, but it is a very interesting concept to be in. Yeah.
Gucci has been very successful in that. Actually, that's the inspiration I'm trying to explain to a lot of brands. Why don't you really look at this Gucci as a brand who is looking at metaverse as their futuristic technology-driven product promotion.
It's an interesting concept to be. Yeah.
Thank you, thank you.
Thank you to all our panelists for sharing your expertise and great insights. So today we have discussed the immense potential for the innovation in intimate apparel industry throughout the supply chain, the challenges we need to oversee or overcome, and the strategies that can help us move forward. With India emerging as a global sourcing hub, the path ahead is full of opportunities for us all. It's up to us to leverage these insights and drive meaningful change in the industry by collaborating throughout the supply chain. Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you very much. Can we put our hands together for all these 5 of them, all these ladies who held our attention for the last so many minutes with that wonderful discussion. Thank you, ladies. Can we have you out here for a photograph? Thank you to Namrata Bhat, Dr. Kiruba Devi, Kavitha Nair, Sanju Prakash, and Sonal Singh for that very engrossing, that thought-provoking discussion.